Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at the Grok 3 AI model from XAI.
Oh, yeah.
This is not just another AI release. We're
Yeah.
talking about a model that's really making some noise with its unique think button.
Hmm.
Yeah, you heard that right. This AI actually takes time to think
Wow.
before it gives you an answer, sometimes even for minutes.
Really? That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So it's not just like a spinning wheel or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually like doing something.
It's not just a fancy timer. Grok 3 is actually using that time to work through problems step by step, much like we would.
Oh, wow.
Like, imagine trying to solve a tricky math problem.
Yeah.
You don't just immediately jump to the answer, right?
No, you gotta
You might try different approaches.
think it through, right?
You make some notes, maybe even backtrack a bit.
Yeah.
Well, Grok 3 does the same thing,
Hmm.
using a technique called reinforcement learning
Okay.
to actually refine its approach as it goes.
So it's like learning as it's thinking.
Yeah, like it's problem solving in real time.
That's fascinating.
So before we get too deep into that,
Okay.
can you just give us like a quick overview of what Grok 3 is and what makes it so special?
Yeah, so Grok 3 is the latest AI model from Elon Musk's XAI.
Okay.
What sets it apart is the sheer scale of its training.
Okay.
It's been trained on a supercomputer called Colossus, which has 10 times the computing power of previous systems.
10 times. That's like going from a bicycle to a rocket ship.
Exactly. And it's not just about brute force.
Okay.
Grok 3 combines this immense computing power with a vast knowledge base from its training phase.
So it's like it's been to the best libraries and universities in the world absorbing all that information.
That's a great way to put it.
Wow.
And with this think button, it's able to apply all that knowledge in a much more sophisticated way.
You mentioned a really cool example in the articles we sent you.
Yeah.
Something about Grok 3 creating a whole game.
Right. One of the examples that really showcases Grok 3's reasoning abilities is its creation of a game called Break Pong.
Okay.
Someone simply gave it the prompt, and after about 6 minutes of thinking,
Wow.
Grok 3 churned out the code for a fully functional game.
A game.
Yeah.
That's insane. It's like having a personal game developer on demand.
It really does push the boundaries of what we thought AI could do. And it's not just games.
Okay.
Grok 3 has also tackled more traditional AI tasks like solving complex math problems.
Okay.
It actually outperformed other top AI models on the 2025 American Invitational Mathematics Examination.
Hold on. This thing is doing high school level competition math. It's
Yeah.
not just creative. It's a math whiz, too. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating is that Grok 3 isn't just reliant on that think button to excel.
Okay.
Even without engaging that deep reasoning feature, it still performs incredibly well on a wide range of AI benchmarks.
Okay, so it's a high achiever, even without hitting the think button.
Right.
Tell us more about these benchmarks. What kind of tests is it acing?
Well, for instance, it achieved a top score on something called the GPQA benchmark.
Okay.
This tests graduate-level science knowledge.
Wow.
So we're talking about some pretty complex stuff.
Yeah.
It also excelled on MMLU Pro, which is a test of general knowledge across a variety of subjects.
So it's got a deep understanding of science and a broad base of general knowledge.
Yes.
But you also mentioned it was good with images and videos.
Right. It performed extremely well on MMMU, a benchmark for image understanding,
Okay.
and on Ego Schema, which focuses on video understanding.
Okay, I'm starting to see why this is such a big deal.
Yeah.
This Grok 3 is like a decathlon champion of the AI world, excelling in everything it tries. But what's the secret sauce? Is there something specific that gives it such a broad range of capabilities?
One key factor is its massive context window.
Okay.
It can handle 1 million tokens, which is 8 times larger than previous models. Think of it like this if you're reading a book. Your context window is how much you can hold in your mind at once to understand the story.
Okay.
Grok 3's huge context window allows it to process and understand much larger and more complex pieces of information.
So it's not just about raw processing power.
Right.
It's also about the ability to see the bigger picture, make connections, and understand complex relationships within data.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. But all these benchmarks and test scores,
Yeah.
it's almost like we're treating Grok 3 as just a student taking exams.
Mm-hmm.
Is there more to it than that?
Absolutely. And this brings us to one of the most exciting aspects of Grok 3, Grok agents.
Okay.
These agents are designed to go beyond simply answering questions and actually interact with the world using tools, accessing information, and even executing code.
Whoa, AI agents interacting with the real world.
Yeah.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It does feel pretty futuristic.
Yeah.
The first of these agents is called Deep Search, and you can think of it as a superpowered research assistant. It can rapidly search through vast amounts of information, synthesize it, and provide concise, insightful reports.
Oh.
It's like having access to the world's knowledge at your fingertips.
Okay, now we're talking. Give us some examples of what this deep search can actually do.
Okay.
What kind of real-world problems can it tackle?
Let's say you're interested in understanding the history of Tesla's stock performance. Deep Search could analyze historical data, financial news articles, even social media sentiment to give you a comprehensive overview.
Okay.
Or maybe you're curious about how people are reacting to the launch of Grok 3 itself. Deep Search could scan through social media posts, news articles, and online forums to gauge public opinion and identify key trends.
That's incredible. It's like having a team of expert researchers working for you around the clock.
Right.
But Deep Search is just the beginning, right?
That's right.
What about other Grok agents?
Yeah.
What else can these agents do?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
The potential applications of Grok agents are vast.
Okay.
Imagine agents that can help you manage your finances, plan trips, even write code or create art.
Okay, now my mind is officially blown.
It's a lot to take in.
So we've got a super smart AI that can reason, access tools, and even interact with the real world.
It's pretty amazing.
What's next for Grok 3? What does the future hold?
Well, XAI is continuously training and updating the model.
Okay.
They've already announced plans to release an API, which will allow developers to integrate Grok 3 into their own applications and services.
That opens up a whole world of possibilities. But let's be real.
Yeah.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Right.
I'm sure there are some serious considerations about how this kind of technology could be used.
You're absolutely right, and to XAI's credit, they've been very vocal about the importance of risk management and ensuring that AI development is aligned with human values.
That's reassuring to hear. But enough about the future.
Okay.
Let's talk about the here and now. Can everyday folks like us actually try out Grok 3? Or is this something only available to researchers and big companies?
Right now, Grok 3 is available to X Premium and Premium Plus users through both the X platform and Grok.com.
Okay.
Premium Plus users get some extra perks, like immediate access to the Think button and Deep Search, along with higher usage limits. But XAI is also rolling out Grok 3 to all Grok users, just with some usage limitations.
So it's not just for the elite few.
Exactly.
That's great news. But this whole discussion has me thinking, with AI advancing at such a rapid pace, where do we go from here?
That's a big question.
What will the world look like in a few years with AI like Grok 3 at our disposal?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one we'll explore in our next segment.
Okay, that sounds good.
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah.
The pace of AI development is simply astonishing.
Before we get carried away with speculating about the future, I'm actually a little curious about something we touched on earlier, the whole idea of Grok 3 being trained. Can you unpack that a bit? What does it actually mean for an AI to be trained?
You're right. It's easy to toss around terms like training without really understanding what's going on behind the scenes. Imagine teaching a child how to read.
Okay.
You start with the basics, showing them letters, then words, then simple sentences. Eventually, they learn to read and understand complex texts on their own training. And AI is kind of similar.
So you're saying it's not just about programming an AI with a set of rules, it's about letting it learn and develop on its own.
Precisely in the case of Grok 3, this training involves feeding it a massive amount of data.
Okay.
Text, code, images, you name it.
Wow.
This process is called pre-training.
Okay.
Think of it as giving the AI a crash course in human knowledge and language.
So it's like sending Grok 3 to the ultimate AI school with a curriculum that covers everything from Shakespeare to quantum physics.
It's exactly. During pre-training, Grok 3 learns to identify patterns, make connections, and essentially absorb a vast amount of information.
Okay.
This foundation is crucial for its ability to understand, text, generate creative content, and even write code.
Okay, that makes sense. But pre-training alone doesn't explain how Grok 3 is able to actually reason and problem solve, right? It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about applying them in a meaningful way.
You're absolutely right. That's where reinforcement learning comes in. It's a technique where an AI learns through trial and error, kind of like how we train a pet.
Okay.
We reward good behavior and discourage bad behavior.
Uh-huh.
In Grok 3's case, it receives feedback based on its performance on various tasks.
Okay.
Over time, it learns to refine its strategies and get better at solving problems.
So it's constantly learning and getting better even after it's been released into the world.
Right.
That's a little mind-boggling.
It is, and it's one of the most exciting things about AI development. Yeah. These models aren't static. They're dynamic, constantly evolving and learning as they encounter more data and feedback.
We've talked a lot about Grok 3's reasoning abilities, but I'm still a bit fuzzy on the difference between simply retrieving information and actually reasoning. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Of course. Imagine using a search engine like Google. You type in a question,
Right.
and it returns a list of websites that might contain the answer.
Yeah.
That's information. Retrieval reasoning, on the other hand, is about taking that information, analyzing it, making connections, and drawing conclusions that might not be explicitly stated.
So it's like the difference between finding a recipe online and actually understanding the chemistry behind why certain ingredients work well together.
That's a great analogy. Reasoning involves higher-level cognitive processes like critical thinking, problem solving, and even creativity.
Which brings us back to the fascinating think button.
Yeah.
Can you give us a glimpse into what's actually happening inside Grok 3 when it's in thinking mode?
When you hit that think button, you're essentially telling Grok 3 to activate its reinforcement learning algorithm and really dig into the problem. It might break the problem down into smaller steps, try out various approaches, or even generate its own internal representations of the problem to better understand it.
So it's not just passively processing information, it's actively engaging with it, almost like having a conversation with itself that's incredible.
It really does blur the lines between what we traditionally consider thinking to be. And remember, all of this is happening within Grok 3's vast neural network,
Right.
a complex web of interconnected nodes that process information, much like neurons in the human brain.
It's amazing to think that we can create machines that can mimic, and in some cases surpass, human cognitive abilities.
It is remarkable how far AI has come.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that we're still in the early stages of development.
Yeah.
The potential for advancements in the coming years is truly staggering.
We've covered pre-training reinforcement learning and reasoning, all incredibly complex topics. Are there any other technical marvels packed into Grok 3 that we should know about?
One key aspect that often gets overlooked is Grok 3's ability to understand and generate different modalities of information.
Okay.
Traditionally, AI models have focused primarily on text. But Grok 3 goes beyond that, demonstrating impressive capabilities in understanding images, videos, and even audio.
Wait, hold on. You're saying it can understand videos? That seems like a whole other level of intelligence. I can barely keep up with what's happening in a movie sometimes.
It is pretty remarkable. It uses techniques like computer vision and audio processing to convert visual and auditory information into a format that its neural network can understand.
Okay.
This allows it to analyze the content of images and videos, identify objects and scenes, and even understand the emotions conveyed through music or speech.
It's like giving Grok 3 eyes and ears to perceive the world in a whole new way. I'm starting to see why people are so excited about the potential of this technology.
This multi-modal understanding opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. Imagine AI systems that can analyze medical images to assist doctors,
Wow.
generate realistic video game environments, or even compose personalized music based on your mood. The applications are truly mind-boggling.
The potential is incredible.
Yeah.
Grok 3 is clearly pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible with AI. I'm eager to see what comes next, but I think it's time we shift gears a bit and talk about the impact of all of this. It's all well and good to marvel at these advancements, but what does it actually mean for us? How will Grok 3 and AI like it change our world?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's one we'll explore in our next segment.
Okay, so we've spent some time talking about what Grok 3 is and what it can do, but I think it's time to kind of step back a little and address the bigger picture.
Okay.
What does this all mean? How might Grok 3 and AI more broadly actually change our lives?
That's the question everyone's asking,
Right.
And I think the impact will be felt across almost every part of society. Let's start with education. Imagine a world where every student has access to a personalized AI tutor
Okay.
that can adapt to their individual learning style, provide instant feedback, and guide them through really complicated concepts.
Yeah.
Grok 3's ability to not just give answers, but to explain its reasoning could totally change how we learn.
It's like having a world-class expert in every subject available to you, 24/7.
Exactly.
No more like struggling with dense textbooks or feeling lost in a crowded classroom.
Right, and think about the implications for research.
Okay.
Scientists could use tools like deep search to go through tons of research papers,
Yeah.
identify promising avenues for exploration, and even generate hypotheses based on existing data.
Mm.
It could really speed up the pace of discovery in fields like medicine materials, science, and
Yeah.
countless others.
So we're talking about like potentially groundbreaking advancements in healthcare technology.
Yeah.
Even our understanding of the universe, it's almost too much to comprehend.
It really is.
But let's not forget about the creative fields. What about art, music, and writing?
Mm.
Could AI tools like Grok 3 change how we create and experience art?
That's where things get really interesting. Some people are worried that AI will replace human creativity,
Yeah.
but I actually see it more as a tool for collaboration and augmentation.
Okay.
Imagine writers using Grok 3 to brainstorm ideas, overcome writer's block,
Right.
or even explore different writing styles.
Yeah.
Musicians could collaborate with AI to compose unique melodies or create personalized soundtracks for their projects.
It's like having a creative partner that can help you push the boundaries of your imagination, explore new possibilities,
Yeah.
and even challenge your own assumptions about what's possible. That's
Okay.
pretty exciting. But of course, with any new technology, especially one this powerful, there are concerns.
Right.
One that comes up a lot is the potential for job displacement.
Yeah.
If AI can do so much, what happens to human workers?
That's a valid concern, and it's one that we need to address thoughtfully. It's true that AI could automate certain tasks and potentially displace some jobs, but it's important to remember that technological advancements have always led to shifts in the workforce.
Right.
Throughout history, new technologies have created new jobs, often in fields that we couldn't even have imagined before.
So it's not necessarily about AI taking over, but rather about humans and AI working together in new and innovative ways.
Exactly. The key is to adapt, evolve, and focus on the skills that are uniquely human: creativity, critical thinking, empathy, and complex problem solving.
Yeah.
These are areas where AI still has a long way to go.
It sounds like the future of work will be about finding the right balance, leveraging the strengths of AI,
Yeah.
while also valuing and nurturing the skills that make us human.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. But with all this talk about AI's potential impact, it's hard not to feel a little overwhelmed.
I understand.
How do we ensure that this technology is developed and used responsibly?
Yeah, that's a huge question.
How do we navigate this uncharted territory?
That's perhaps the most important question of all. As AI systems become more powerful and integrated into our lives,
Yeah.
we need to prioritize ethical considerations and ensure that these systems are aligned with human values. Transparency, accountability, and ongoing dialogue are really crucial.
It sounds like we all have a role to play in shaping the future of AI. It's not just about the developers and researchers.
Yeah.
It's about all of us engaging in conversations about the potential benefits and risks and working together to ensure that AI is used for good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This isn't just a technological challenge, it's a societal one.
Yeah.
And the choices we make today will shape the world we live in tomorrow.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Grok 3, what's the key takeaway for our listeners? What's the one thing you hope they'll remember from this conversation?
I think Grok 3 represents a significant leap forward in AI, showcasing advancements in reasoning knowledge and the ability to interact with the world.
Yeah.
It has the potential to revolutionize how we learn, work,
Yeah.
create, and even think.
Yeah.
But it's super important to approach this technology with both enthusiasm and a healthy dose of caution.
It's about embracing the possibilities while also being mindful of the potential risks.
Right.
And most importantly, it's about actively participating in shaping the future of AI to ensure that it benefits all of humanity.
Well put. The future of AI is ultimately in our hands.
And on that note, I want to leave our listeners with a final thought.
Yep.
We've talked about the impact of Grok 3 on society as a whole,
Yeah.
but I think it's also worth reflecting on the potential impact on our own individual lives. How might this technology change the way you think, learn, and interact with the world around you?
That's a great question.
It's a question worth pondering.
It certainly is. The future is full of possibilities, and it's up to each of us to explore them with curiosity, courage, and a commitment to shaping a world where AI empowers us all.
That's all the time we have for today's deep dive into Grok 3. We hope you found it informative, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little inspiring. Remember to check out the show notes for links to all the articles and resources we discussed today. And as always, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.